Hey there, Lorenzo here. This is a code walkthrough of project number 3 in the CS50 Web development course. My goal today is to take you from start to finish to complete this project. I am not aiming to go flawlessly from start to finish, but rather I'll probably make a few mistakes here and there and we'll learn from those. Are you ready? Let's go. The idea for this project is to create a single page application that looks like Gmail. And here we have how the front end may look and the specifications. I went ahead and downloaded the source code and I created the virtual environment and installed Django. With that, we can launch the server to see what we are working with. This is how the page looks. I'll go ahead and create a user. Let's go and register the user. 123, 123. Oops. First, let's go ahead and make the migrations. So manage BY, make migrations, mail. Now let's migrate. That was quickly a very first mistake. Let's migrate. Now let's launch the server. Let's go back here. And yes, it worked. So we have the user, we have an inbox, a compose, send, archive, and then the button to log out. Then looking at the templates, let me open this. Oops. There we go. So let's take a look here. So the first thing that we need to do here, we have the details of the API, and when we look at the specifications, we are looking at sending an email to be the very first step. So we go here, let's look at the static, and here we have inbox.js. This is where we will do most of our work. The first thing that I want to do to first, I guess we can take a look, start with how this will the fetch instruction. So if I go in here, I open the and I do when we were looking at the API, this is the fetch operation to send an email. So we are sending a post request to the emails endpoint. The recipient should be a user. So for example, in this case, if we do this will probably fail because there's no user with that email. But let's see. So we can open the console run and we clearly see that. One thing we can do, we can send an email to ourselves. So if I go back in here and do user 123 at example, email sent successful. So that worked. So how do we implement this? Going back to the source code, the first thing that I will do, I'll go to the inbox HTML, and here, because when we look at send at compose, this is the compose form, and we have this submit button. So I want to add an ID so that we can add an event listener to that. I'll call this compose email. Let's save that. And then what we will do, we'll add let me call actually send email. So let's do that. And now I need to add an event listener. So we'll go to document dot get element by ID. I'm going to do send email dot add event listener on click, and that will be the function send email. So now we need to go ahead and write that function. So let's go down here, function send email. Let's open parentheses, no arguments in this one, because we will take most of the arguments from the form that we've seen. Um, that will be our first step, get values from form. Here we'll do let recipients equals document dot get element by, and we see that basically we can take these elements right here, because when we are looking at the compose form, in the code provided, they are cleaning that up. So I can take, actually, to save some time, let's do this. Let's remove these guys right here. So the recipients will be this, the let subject equals this here, and then let body equals the value of that HTML element. With that, we are ready to use the fetch API. So I will copy this, and now we are going to add the recipients will be this. Let me change the subject to the value above, and I'll do the same with the body. This is looking good, and here is where we need to know a little bit about the Fetch API. The idea that what is being returned is a promise, because this is something that will take a little bit of time. So this is what's called an asynchronous request. So we're going to make that call to the API. Once that's fulfilled, we are going to convert to JSON, and then it's going to print the is going to log the result. So we can now take a look and see if that is working. Let me launch the server again. So let's go in here. We are logged in, so we go to compose. Let's do this. Let's use a subject. Why not? Testing. And if we go here, let's pay attention to the console. User with email user2 doesn't exist. Makes sense. Again, the same issue as we saw before. So what we can do, we can take this and send it to send an email to ourselves to the same user. So testing, and this worked. This worked. There we go. So we have the functionality there. What I wanna add is a little bit more of a better practice. I wanna add a catch, similar to a try and exception in Python. I'll add that. Let me copy that. So in here, so what this is doing is first checking if the status code of the response is in the to-hand list. If it is not, it will throw an error, and it will print an alert. So let's see that in action. So let's run the server again. Let's go in here, compose. Let's go back to that example where the email doesn't exist. Testing, alert, and now if everything is working, this will throw an error because the email that user doesn't exist, and we should see an alert. And in fact, we see the alert with the error message that says that the user doesn't exist. That's very, very nice and helpful. So that will complete the first requirement, which is sending an email. Now, moving on to the second requirement, that is the mailbox. Basically, we want to fetch the API and see all the emails as we would see whenever we are logging in our email accounts. So let me click OK. Let's kill the server for now. The very first thing that I will do, I'll create sample emails, and we can take a look at the models. So in here we see that they take a user, a sender, recipient, subject, body, timestamp, read, and archive, and these two being Boolean. So I will copy the sample email data that I have. Let's clear up the console. So if I print, if I copy and paste this, here we have 3 emails with, again, this is a synthetic data. What we can see is that I can access this array, and for example, if we're looking at the first email, get the sender. That's there we go. We see John example, and I can do the same with any email and any attribute. The first thing that I want to try is with this synthetic data, iterating through the array, iterating through each email, and seeing this information on the inbox. So I'm going to work on the console before moving on to the code. So first thing I want to look is where this will go in the HTML. If we look at the inbox, we see that we have the compose view and then the emails view. And this is what we are going to modify. So let's go in here. We are going to get that element, get element, get element by. And there we go. Emails view. That is this element right here. And now, for example, if we want to define a container, and we get this document right here, container dot inner h. Having an issue with the tab today. Hello world. We see how that changes. So okay, so we define that container to be that HTML section. And then what we want is to iterate over the emails. So let's see, emails dot for each. We are going to take each email. We are going to create a div. Let's call this email box equals document create element. This will be a div. And now we wanna modify the class name. Let's just look at let's modify the email box dot. Let's look at the HTML first. So we are doing this here equals, and I'm going to copy paste this. So what we have here is a string with 3 paragraphs, and each paragraph, each HTML element has information on the email. So email sender, subject, timestamp, and now we need to make sure that we append to the container. So we'll append email box. So we have I see. Yes, so I haven't closed. So we have this, we are closing here. So let's do one more thing. So we are defining the container. Let's erase whatever it's in the container. And now let's run the function again. Here we see that for each of the emails in the sample data, we are printing the sender, the subject, and the timestamp. So that is a very, very good start. So the only thing that I will do, I'll make this a little bit nicer using Bootstrap cards. So let's go in here. Let's add we'll add a function. So using what I showed before, we can define a display emails function. We can let's see. So we need to connect it here. So I want in the load mailbox, we're going to add the call to display emails with the mailbox. Here is where we need some type of synthetic data. So I have code, you will see this in my GitHub. Let me create a folder here on init. Um, let's create let's create a folder. Oops. Let's put this outside. Yes, I want to move it into the project. So in the ETL, we are going to have init etl.py. Oops, let me make that an underscore. And let me copy and paste this code, which again will be on my GitHub. This should be mail settings. The idea here is that I'm creating a couple of users. again using this model, and then sample emails. So we'll see in this case that I have a conversation between user 2 and 1 talking about the tennis US Open, talking about tickets. Here we have the user, sender, the subject, the body, a timestamp, and some metadata. This will play a role later, but read and archive. And that's between users 1 and 2. And here we have a conversation on cars between users 1 and 3. So I will go ahead and destroy the database. Let's go here. We need to run migrations again. I made a change on the models. So when we look at models, I make this change because I want to be able to pass a timestamp. And let's, from Django, utils import timezone. So that we have it there. So now I will go ahead and make migrations. Now I need to migrate. I will go one directory up and now call Python Python etl init.etl no module dot name. Let's see, so the project. I fixed the issue with the ETL. Now if we run it, and we can launch the shell, let's do manage.py shell, import mail.models, let's do from mail models, import a user and email. So now if we do user.objects.all, we will see the users that we created. Just to inspect them, we can get the username and any other attribute. Let's look at the emails, objects.all. And again, we have those emails in the ETL. Great. So let's quit. Now let's launch the server, run server. Let's log in here. So user 1, let's get the password. Excellent. So we have the emails in the database. Now, if I go back to the .js, we have, so send email, that was part 1. Display emails, we should see it with, so we have the display emails. So now if we go ahead and query, so let's write one more function. That function it gets the emails from in the mailbox. So we have the URL, emails, and whatever mailbox we want, and then we are returning that promise. So if I go to the display emails and I add, let's do get email from mailbox. So it takes, so display emails, this should be mailbox. So now we have mailbox here that will return a promise. So then we need to do then open parentheses. Let's do emails. Open curly braces. Now let's take all of this and move it in here. So let's see if this works. So this is coming from for each. So let's see. Let's see. Let's run the server. And if this works, we should see the same list as we saw before. No, okay. It's not emails for each is not a function. Let's look in here. For each. Okay, let's take a look. Something is off here. So we have mailbox. What is the issue here? So emails. So get from mailbox. This returns emails. Then emails. What is he saying? So oops. Emails. For each is not a function. So emails. Okay, this is working. I see. Okay. So this is one more thing that I learned from the on the views. So if we look in here, to me this sounded weird. Let's look at the views in mailbox. Here, to me this doesn't make too much sense. So if we are sending an email, the user will not be the same as the recipient. So to me this is a bug, and the correct way should be that the only thing that we care is the user here. There is the recipient, right? If it is my mailbox, then we should filter those emails that the recipient is myself. For send, whenever we are sending emails, then this makes sense to me. The user is the same as the sender. So if I'm sending an email, that's my name, the sender is also my name, and then I'm sending it to Carlos Juan. That's the recipient. So this is good. This is good. Archive, again, this is the same as for the inbox. If I'm looking at the archives, those are emails that were sent to me, but I decided to archive. So let's save that. Let's run the server again. Let's launch. So, and now it is working. So we have the inbox. We can see sent and archive. There's nothing there yet. I spent a little bit of time on how this looks. In the interest of time, I will just go ahead and show you what the end product looks like. So we have the same thing here. We are getting the container. We have the same for loop, but the first thing that we are going to do here is creating a card. So let's look at this. So again, we are iterating over each email. For each email, we are going to have a card. That's this element right here. This is some bootstrap in order to define the width of the card and the style of it. And then for the card, we have the header and we have the body. So for the header, same idea. We create an element, a div, we assign the class. And then for the inner HTML, I will have from and then the timestamp. And then on the card body, let's look at this. We have the subject and the body. So let's see. So this should work. And those are the words that no one should say, right? Run server. Let's see now. Okay, there's something going on here because clearly it's not showing. Oh, okay, so we are missing the append. So for each email, here is where we need to append. We need to do email card dot append. I need to append the header and then email card dot append a card body, and then we need to append the email card to the container. So container dot append email card, and let's see now. Let's run the server again. Let's load inbox. Nice. So now this is working, and we have a card for each email. We have the header, we have the body. This is looking great. Excellent. One thing that we need to consider is in the mailbox is whether the email is read or unread. If it is unread, it should be white, and if not, it should have a gray background. So let's go ahead and do that. Here is where I will add the read and read. And I will say if, let's go back, if email dot read, open curly braces, we are going to say that the core body, the style dot background color equals, and here I have an X code for a gray like background. So that's the if, else. We are going to copy that and put white. If we look at the ETL, what we loaded, we'll see that a few emails are read and others, they are false. Especially, for example, let's look at this one. Let's remember this body. Could you please specify which type of tickets? Because that is false. So going in here, this should do it. Let's start the server again. And if we go to mail, there we go. Again, this email is not read yet, hasn't been read yet, so it is with white. So this is working. This is working. Let's see if I'm missing something else. Yes, one thing that could be better is that if we look at the archive, here we do not have any emails in the archive, but I think that we should put an alert. So let's do that. So what I want to add is, so we are here, right? We are getting the emails. But before we enter the for loop, we can put an if statement, and we'll do if emails dot length equals 0. We are going to do something, and then we are going to return, such that the rest of the function doesn't run. So I'm going to say, define a mailbox name. This is the, okay, okay, so let's not do that. Let's do a simple alert. So we are going to create consts no emails alert equals document dot create element. This will be a div. Now we are going to take this, define its class name. We're going to use Bootstrap here. Let me paste this. And then we are going to, for now, let's do no emails alert inner HTML alert. Just to see how this looks. We need to make sure that we append it to the container. And no emails alert, and let's see if this is working. So close, run server again. Let's look at this. This is the inbox, makes sense. Sent also, but now we have an alert because that is empty. We can make this be more descriptive, more specific if we specify which mailbox. That is what I was trying to do here before. Mailbox name, we are going to say that this is the first character. We are using the input, so this input right here, the mailbox, but we are making it uppercase, the first letter, and then we are slicing and getting the rest. With that, now we can say, we can write a better HTML here, and we'll do no emails in, and this is string formatting in JavaScript. So we are using those ticks and then the $sign and curly braces. So let's look at it now. Let's start the server again. We have the inbox. If we go to archive, no emails in archive. This looks nice. And we'll see that this should change, if we empty the inbox or if there are no send messages, this will still work. So one other thing in here, while this is correct, the from, if we look at the send mailbox, this doesn't make sense because in reality, this should be true. These are all the emails that I'm sending, user one, to someone. So let's change that. I want to distinguish. Let's do it here. Distinguish to and from. And what I'm going to say is that simply if mailbox is inbox or mailbox equals archive, let's call it the header prefix. This is from. Oops, let's go here. Else header prefix would be to. And now what we need to change is this right here. This will be the header prefix. So let's run the server. Let's look in here. So inbox still looks all right with from, and on the send is 2. But that doesn't seem, there's something in here, right? So inbox from user sent. How is this? This looks wrong. Let's see, do we have a, so the email, who, yes, that's, yeah. So if we look in here, we should do. So the thing is that also, not only we need to change the prefix, but also whatever goes next. So in the send, it will be the recipient, but in the inbox, it will be the sender. So let's call this person, and this will be, oh, so this should be inside. So let's do this. And again, this could be outside, you know, but in order to recycle the if statement, I will put it inside. So the person, it will be the sender, that's correct. But in here, the person will be the recipient. So now, if we do, we need to change this right here. So let's run the server again. Let's see now. So from user 2, that makes sense. Archive, alert, that makes sense. Send to undefined. Why? Oh, okay. So that clearly is an issue with the attribute. There we go. So let's start the server again. Let's see. Inbox sent. That makes sense. To user dot. So let me write a note because I will need to fix my submission. Fix to from. Likely I haven't submitted yet. So that will do it for requirement number 2. So now we need to define a view email. So what we would like to do is whenever we're looking at any inbox, have the ability to click on an email and go somewhere. We are going to recycle, or we are going to work within this display email function. The first thing that we need to do, we need to add another div here. So this will be div id equals, let's call it, what was the name here? Yeah, single email view. So let's do that. And now we're going to, we need to do a few modifications in here in the load mailbox. So we need to also set this to none, and the same here. So none, that makes sense. And now let's looking here, let's add first a silly listener to make sure that we are able to put it on the right place. So we are going to fetch the emails. Sorry for that little break, something fall from the table. But so we are here, right? And we want to add a silly listener to make sure that we have it on the right place. So the one that we are going to add will be here. Let's see. So we have for email, we're going to create an email card. So in here we can do email card dot add event listener on click, and the function will be simple to log the email ID. And let's see if this works. If we cannot make this work, then the rest of the application will not work either. So here, right? So yes, this is working. If we see the console, we click and we're getting the email ID. One thing that I don't like is that it's not evident for the user to click. So for sure we need to change that. For how do I change that? Let's see. Okay, so here, remember I had to change the pointer. So if we go in here and we modify the style, we can take a look now, run server again, this. See, pay attention to the cursor. Now it's the arrow, we go here, we get the hand. That's working right there. So I wanna have now a function that is load email. So we are going to add it here. And we can do something silly, but just to test the mechanics, is that if we try to log the email ID and I go in here and I change and I do load email and I pass that, then this should be the same behavior. So let's stop the server, run it again. Let's see. Let's look attention. Let me clear the console. 1, 8, 3. This is working. So now we can. Now that that's taken care of, we can, start working on the load email function. So what are we going to do here? So the first thing that we need to do is, since this is a single page application, we need to erase the other components. So we are going to, and that's basically up here. So we can take this. This is the same idea. No. We can call this show email and hide other views. So this will be none, and this will be block. So, and if we do, let's create a container. So no, let's get the single email view and do container dot inner HTML equals testing. Let's run the server again. Inbox. We click. This is testing. This is working. Excellent. So we want to have, according to the specifications, we should have a border, and it should show the sender, recipient, subject, timestamp, and body. So Let's look at all of those. So let's get, so we're loading an email. So just for testing, what we can do is use synthetic data again. So let's say, and then we're going to use fetch later. So if we have this, let's define an email. This email is this. Then a const email equals emails. Let's index that. So if we have that, we can then define the container to be the following. So instead of testing, we are going to have the sender, the recipient. Let me look at this because I may be missing something else. I may have found another error in my submission. So we have the from, we have the recipient, we have the subject, the date and time, and the body. No, I'm good. Let's see if this is working. So we stop the server, start it again. Let's look at this. So inbox, from, to, subject, daytime. This is great. This is working like a charm. Now what we can do is modify the style of that. So we make it more nicer and according to the specifications, because I think that they wanted specifically a border. So let's look at that again. And see how basically I'm breaking things down into smaller steps and building from there. For example, in this case, what did we do? The first thing we did was to have a dummy listener to make sure that the mechanics were right. Then I'm using a synthetic email. Then I will jump on to fetching the email. But I'm making sure along the way that I'm breaking things down into simple steps and making sure that each of those steps works and then putting them together. So I'm in the inbox. Let's click. I like this. So we have a border, a background. This is nice. This is nice. This will do it for the synthetic data. Now, what we need to do is simply use the fetch API. So to get an email, that is a post request. No, that is a get request. That should be a get request. Let's see. So if we look at this, so yeah, this is a get emails and the email ID. So we will have in here, we'll have fetch, we'll have emails. Here we'll have the email ID, which we are getting as an input. So that's that. We close that. Then we have the then response, and we get the JSON response dot JSON dot. Then I want the email, and then for the function, again the plus, I'm opening curly braces and I'm going to put this in there. So let's see. Let's see. So inbox. Uh, 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 uh. What's going on? What's going on? So what's happening? So we have email. I guess we can print so emails, fetch, email ID. Again, I don't think that we have the container. So that was working. So we are loading the email. We have a container. We have that. So first, I guess let's see. Console.log email. Let's see if this is working or not. Run server, inbox, get. Okay, not found. Not found. Why is the email not being found? Let's see if yes. So this is again something else with the source code. So if we look in here, whenever we are getting the email, this doesn't make sense to me. So we are requesting an email, right? So if we're looking at the inbox, for example, at this email, here we have the user2 at example.com. So there is no way for the user to be the request user. The request user, it is whoever is logged in that session. So this is actually user one in this case. So whoever is logged in. So I went ahead and removed this from the source code because the only thing that we care is the ID of the email. And we go in here. Now if we click, then this is working. This is user 2. I have no idea why they do that. So this is working like a charm. Okay, one more thing in the specification for the view email is that whenever we see the email should change to read. We need to play with the read and read. So remember that whenever it's white, that means that the email is unread. So we go in here. Let's go back to the .js. I'm going to return. Let's see, return email so that I can chain the then, and now I'm going to take the email and do basically we're going to test whether the email is read. If the email is read, if the email is different than true, we are going to the put request. So we're going to do fetch email ID. We're going to do this, and this is in the specification right here. So if we look at the put email, so we have this. So instead of the only thing is that instead of the 100 here, we are going to change that to be the email ID, we need to use the backticks. There we go. It is not archive, it is read. So this closes, and this is getting, let's see, so this should be this. Now let's try. So now, if this is working, what will happen is that after I click this, the background should turn to gray. So let's see. So we're looking at the inbox, and now if we go again, now the background changed. Awesome. So let's remove, there's a console. Yeah, so let's remove this one. This is working. So we have completed 1 through 3. We have the mailbox, we have the view email, send email. So now we need to work on the archive and then the reply. Let's do that. So for the so we are going to work on the archive and an archive. And again, we are going to use the load email. One trick that we need to do here is, so we want to be able to archive and unarchive the emails that the user has received. So we need to make the distinction between we need to make sure that the recipient, that we are working on the inbox or the archive mailboxes. So we're going to compare the user that is logged in to the sender. Yes, I said it right. So in order to do that, we need to add a trick. This is the way I came up with. We are going to go into inbox and we are going to add information to this H2. And I'm going to call ID equals logger logged in user. So with that, we can, for example, and we can try that. So I can go in here. For example, if we want to test that, let's do console.log document dot query select query element get element by ID, and if I do log in user, and if I do the text content, because I want to get the email. So if we do that, let's start the server again. Now if I click, cannot read properties of null reading. Cannot get property of null. Let's see. Maybe because I didn't save. Let's do. What is this? So inbox. Ah, dude, I need to look at the console. What am I doing? So improm uncode cannot read of. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? So let's impromise type error cannot read properties of null. ID logged in user. Logged in. Am I writing it wrong? No. No, that's fine. So let's see. So we're returning an email. So let's see if I put it. Why would that be the case? So what I'm trying to show is that we can access this guy right here because we will use that to compare. But in any case, let's see if this works in here. So we'll add another. Then let's do the same deal right here. And we need to close parentheses. So let's see this. Have a fetch response. I guess maybe because it's a. So let's do this. Let's see. Let's call this a logged in user. Well, maybe it has to do with a promise console log. So here I need to do the same trick right here. We need to here need to return the email. And just to make sure that we are in here, let's do console.log email. Let's see. So let me inner.html. Inner.html. Maybe because that's the. So let's do the text content. Cannot read properties of null reading. Why is that happening? Logged in user. So we have the block body. So this is where I have the ID. Oh, that's crazy. Dude. Oh my god, a typo, man. So forget about, man. So forget about this. Let's do what. This is what I say when it was going. I wasn't lying when I said that I will take you from start to finish, but I wasn't going to do it flawlessly. I think that hopefully you are taking a lot from this exercise, you know. And what's crazy is that I work on this earlier in the morning, and by now it seems that I'm doing the project again from scratch. That's crazy. So typo. So if we were to again let's look at this. So if I were to do console.log document get that, another way we can test this is using the console, because let's start the server again. So now if we inspect the elements, we should see let's look at the no, I don't want to see the style. I want to see this. Yes. So we have the body, we have the div, and the logged in user is this one. So let's delete that. Let's open it again. More tools, developer tools. Let's now get this. Finally. So that will work. You know, if we get this, we should click in here and get the email. See, that's the console. So great. So let's remove this from here. Now we're working on here. Let me uncomment this again. So what we want to test, let's remove this. We want to create a bottom, right? And first, what we can do, what I can do first is create the bottom and then add the logic. So let's do that. Create the bottom, reply dot inner HTML. This will be archive, just so we see. Let's call this element. I was jumping ahead to point number 5. Archive. And then let's add a class here. And then we need to add it to the container. The container is, that append element. So let's see how this looks. Run server. We're inbox. So this is how it looks, right? So this makes sense. This makes sense that I can archive this. But what doesn't make sense is that I can archive this. You know, this is an email that I sent. What the requirements say is that we should allow the users to archive and unarchive emails that they have received. So I will add a condition here, and I will say that if logged in user is the same as the sender of the email, then we are going to return. So let's try that. So now we look at let's look at that. So we are here, inbox. This works as before, but if we go to send, then it shouldn't appear here. This is working. This is working. Okay, one thing that I just realized is that when we are looking at the send, this should be colorless. This doesn't make sense to have color. So one thing that I need to add in here, and let's go back to the read to the red and red, I need to add this condition to check for the mailbox, so that all the emails in the sent mailbox, they should be white. There we go. Now it's making sense. Now it's making sense. So let's go back to the archive. So one thing that we need to distinguish is, so if the email is already archived, then we should have the ability to remove it. If the email is not archived yet, we need to provide that option. So we are going to add a condition. If element archive is true, then what would happen? Well, the inner HTML, this will be archived, and let's do the else. Whereas if it is not true, if archive is false, then we'll do remove from archived. Yes. If archive is true, no, sorry, so this will be the other way around. So this will be, if it's archived, we'll remove it, and if it is not, we can archive. That makes sense. So how do we do the archive and unarchive? We need to add a few functions right here. So, and this is based again on the API specifications. If we want to archive something, we use this. So let's write a function. Let's call this archive email that takes an email ID and we'll do fetch. What we need to do is change this so that we are able to include the email ID. And then we are going to here, we're going to change archive to true. And then I guess let's stop there for a sec and then we include the other part. So we can do this. We can do the same for the unarchive. This will be unarchive and this will be false. And now if we go back in here, we are going to add an event listener, add event listener on click. And this will be the function. So remove from archive. So this will be an archive. Oops, an archive email, and we're going to pass email dot ID. Same deal here. So let's do, but the only difference is this, an archive to archive. So let's see. What am I missing? Oh, I don't think I'm missing anything. So let's run the server again. Let's look at this. So we're in inbox. So first, archive is empty. So we are here. So archive, I click on archive and the email is archived. That's nice. So we go back to inbox, the email disappear. So same deal here. The only thing that is not good is that whenever I click archive, we are still on the same page. I wanna go back to the inbox, and actually that's part of the specification. Here it says once an email has been archived, load the user inbox. So right here we are going to do then let's run the mailbox, load mailbox, and we are going to pass inbox. And this will be the same deal for here. So let's look at that now. Run server, we are here, inbox. I guess we can now try the opposite, going from getting this email to go back to inbox. So archive, remove from inbox. Remember this, could you please specify remove from, and we are back into the inbox. That's nice, 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 nice. So that that will do it for requirement 4. Excellent. So last one, let's read, almost there. Let's see. So reply. We need to allow the users to reply to an email. So we are going to, again, continue in here because we need to add one more button. So we need to go in here, do then, take email again. Let's open curly braces and we need to add the same condition here. Why? Because we can only reply to a message for which we are a recipient. So if we have this, this doesn't make sense. So we should return. So now let's create a button. I'm going to call it reply. And if we do this, now let's kill the server, start it again, go in here. So inbox. So archive, why are we not seeing? Okay, because I haven't text content, document, email sender return. So we need to append it. Container, append, reply. So let's see. We need to, here, we need to return the email. There we go. So we can use it on the next chain. So let's start the Gerber one more time. Inbox. Nice. So we have the bottom. Of course, looks awful, but we're going to fix that. How are we going to fix that? We are going to fix that with Bootstrap. Good old friend. So here, reply class name. We have a bottom secondary, and then we have some styling. I wanted to make it small, and then we have some margin. So let's see already how that changes things. Here, much better, much better. So now we need to specify what happens here because I'm clicking and nothing is happening. So I'm going to add an event listener. I'm going to say reply.event listener on click, not on close, on click. And then this is going to be called composed reply email. And we are going to pass an email. So now I need to write the function. So if we go down here, we'll do function, takes an email. We need to, again, it will be similar to the compose page. If we look at the compose page, we get this. The only difference is that it has to be populated. So actually, if we can go up here and take the compose email function, get all the stuff right here, bring it down here, And instead, what we are going to do, we are going to get the information from the email. So what we're going to do, instead of clearing out, we're going to add values. So let's first define the recipients. Recipients. We'll get this. So we are saying that the recipients are going to be the sender, whatever is in the sender attribute of the email. For the subject, we are going to do something slightly different. So what they are saying here is that the subject line should have RE. If it doesn't have it. So we're going to let the subject be the email subject, and then if not, a subject dot starts with, and here I'm going to write RE. If that is not the case, then we are going to make the subject be RE space plus subject. And then we are going to say, let's erase this. We are going to say that the subject equals subject right here. And here, the body, they want something again along the lines of on the timestamp, whoever wrote it, and then the body. So we're going to open a template string on, and I'm going to say $sign email dot timestamp. We are going to add a new line. We are going to say from dot. Here I wanna, again, let me copy this. We're going to say from sender, and then we're going to add another new line, and n. Let's change this to body, and that should do it. Let's see. So let's kill the server, launch the server again. Come on, I'm running out of steam. Let's see this. So we are here. We should reply to user2 with the subject on this, and we should see the text. User2, same subject, and then we have this. Wonderful. So now, just so we can test this, we see, could you please specify which types? I am interested in single seats, single day for quarter finals. So if we look at the sent messages, then we see the message right here. If we log out and we'll log in as user2, let me get the password in here. So that's the email that we just sent. It is unread. If I click it, let's do great. $500 via Venmo. Venmo. There we go. And we submit. So the email is now read, and if we log into user one, we are going to see this email. That is all. So just to sum it up, it was a very, very interesting exercise in which we built a single page application because we're not doing any further request. The URL is always the same. Everything is happening on the client side with JavaScript, modifying, the HTML elements, and also using the Fetch API to go ahead and request to send data and request data. But this is all under one page. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave comments, questions. I'll do my best to answer those. And if you like this content, please subscribe, as you will see more content like this in the future. Thank you.